Not grand rising, but good evening. How is everyone doing this fine evening? My name is AshleyIndigo, and I am here to help you see what you can't see, hear what you can't hear, and feel what you can't feel. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the 2022, which is what I like to call the big six. You get the number six when you add all the twos together, the two and the zero and the two and the two. You get the six. We are moving out of 2021. When you add all of those numbers together, you get five. Five, the year of 2021 altogether has been about letting go. So a lot of us, we may have lost friends. We may have lost, family members that no longer fit the place that we're trying to go. We may have lost jobs. We may have lost our sanity a little bit. It may have seemed like we were doing a lot of losing this year, but we weren't losing. We were just releasing. We were just letting go. When we think about things in an energetic space, a way that we can allow or a way that we can get new things into our energy field is by letting go of the things that no longer fit us. So when we move into the six and we think about what the number six stands for, well, the number six stands for self-love. It stands for growth. It stands for healing. It stands for cleansing. It stands for justice. It stands for just doing things from a childlike space, doing things more from a childlike space. When we think about the number six, and anytime we see the number six means that you need to get in tune with your inner child. It means that you need to get in tune with the person that's closest to God, the person that's closest to God. It says in the Bible that in order to get, or the greatest in the kingdom of heaven is the child. So in order to be like a child, we have to be childlike. Children, they have big hearts. They forgive easily. Children are so different from what an adult is. And from the time that we're children to the time that we're adults, we just change so much and we grow so much. So one thing that we need to keep in mind going into the 2022, going into the big six, is that everyone, it doesn't matter what sign you are, you're going to want authenticity. You're going to want to be around things that make you feel something. You're going to want to live from the heart space. When we live from the heart space and we live from the heart, we are exactly where we need to be because we were created by God. God is love. So we were all created as these loving, beautiful beings that lost our way when we got here, and we're all just trying to find our way back at the end of the day. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all 12 signs. I'm going to pull about 3 cards for every sign, and I'm going to kind of go through and tell you what it is that you should be keeping an eye out for, or what it is that you should be expecting as we move into 2022. Of course, when we're talking to me, I'm going to mention God. That's just not negotiable, because at the end of the day, all this other shit is a distraction. None of this shit matters. We need to get in alignment with our assignment. And our assignment is to be, not do necessarily, but to be love. When we live from the heart space, when we do things from the heart space, not only are we in alignment with our assignment, we're living the way that a child would. This is the child. This is the adult. They work in unison. And when we use them, we start to see the life that we dreamed. So as we move into 2022, we're no longer going to be dealing with fake shit. We don't want anything ingenuine. We want authenticity. We want to do shit that makes our hearts happy and stuff that makes our hearts feel something. So, next year, be prepared to see a lot of realness. Be prepared to see a lot of genuineness. Things are going to change for the better. But remember, when we're dealing with God, there's never really any losses. It's always W's, because when you look back in hindsight, you see how a lot of the shit you lost, you didn't need anyway. We're not going to need any of this bullshit when we go back to where we come from. Okay. So what I like to do, since it is January, happy birthday, Cappies, is I want to go ahead and start off with January. I'm going to be pulling from 3 different decks tonight, the 3 cards that I'm going to be pulling. So I'm going to go through the different decks that I'm going to pull. This is the Psychic Tarot deck. If anyone's ever had any readings for me or knows, at least seen the monthlies that I do for the monthly energy report, this past month I used the Psychic Tarot. I like to use the Psychic Tarot because I read numbers, I read pictures, I read colors, I read energy, anything that can be read, I can read it. So I like to use this deck because it goes into a lot of detail. It can tell me a lot. The next deck I'm going to use is the Trust Your Vibes. This deck gives me big six energy because this is the part that connects to, this is the message from your higher self. The higher self is the inner child, aka the 3-year-old part of us, aka the part of us that's connected to God. So that's why I want to use this deck, because it gives you, it's almost like that message is coming from, like I said, it's coming from the higher part of you. And then I always like to sweeten the pot at the end of my readings, and I'm going to use an Archangel Oracle deck. The reason that I want to use angels is because angels are so essential. When we come here, before God puts us here on earth, or before we make that journey, he gives us guardian angels. So we have those. But then as we live our life, the people that we know, the people that we love, they start to, what I like to call, graduate. Really, they have a physical death, but they graduate to a higher realm. They go back home. Not all of them, but some of them. And when they do, they become angels. And a lot of the time, what some of the angels will do is they'll actually hang back and they will help us. They'll guide us. And with the way that everything's going, I've had dreams, I've had visions. I see that there is a lot of help from the angelic realm, kind of helping people to, you know, get where they need to get and be positioned in the right place at the right time, so that, you know, we can move forward. And another thing that's really big about 2022 is the 2022 is going to make us better parents. If some of us have children, or if some of us have the joy of interacting with the precious gifts we call children, it'll make us better children. Because what's supposed to happen, people don't understand, is we are supposed to come here as a child, go through a childhood, then we become a teenager, an adult, and we make decisions. And because some of us are so disconnected from our fucking childhoods, we don't ever think about, and we don't ever use any of that to raise our children. We raise our children from an adult place, but it robs us of so much joy, because when we parent, we're just parenting from here. We're not using our childlike experience to help us parent. And that's what that's all about. So we're going to be breaking a lot of fucking generational curses coming up next year. We're going to be releasing the chains that bind us. We're going to be doing so much great shit. So I'm so excited to get into this reading. So Capricorn, I'm going to go ahead and pull your first card. If anybody's seen my readings, we all know that I could talk forever. So I'm going to try to keep it sweet and short, because I got 12 signs. Not too sweet, not too short, but I mean, I've got 12 signs to go through. Okay, Capricorn. So, cannot make this shit up. All right. So Capricorn, this is a number 4. This is the heart chakra space. The heart chakra space is right here. Okay. So this is pretty much just what I was talking about. The heart chakra space, this is a child. So Capricorn, where you guys are more stubborn and no one can usually fucking tell you anything, this year you are going to be more open. You're going to be more open to listening to the things that people have to say. Usually you're super, super stubborn, but that's all in your head. This year, you're going to be living out more with your heart. You're going to be more lighthearted. You might find yourself being friendlier. I also feel like, Capricorn, this year, in previous readings, we've talked about shit making your heart hard. You going through so many different things that have kind of broken your heart through life, and it's made you hard at the heart. No more. 2022, you're going to be unloading. You're going to be taking a closer look at yourself. You're going to be really getting to know yourself on a heart level. That is going to include, because we all have to do this work. A lot of people don't understand it and they don't think about it, but that is going to include looking back at your childhood. I feel like, Capricorn, there are some things, there are some hurts that may have, you haven't quite worked through them yet. You haven't worked through them, and it affects the way that you move through this life. I feel like one thing is, you guys are super stubborn, but you guys have big hearts. I won't say that you're into people pleasing, but you just don't know how to say no. This year, you are going to be doing more of that. You are going to realize who you are. You're going to step into value for yourself, and you're going to start fucking telling people no. You're going to start making sure that people are meeting you at the same space that you're meeting them. And if they're not, you're going to fucking tell them to kick rocks. people can easily, I won't say manipulate you, but they see how nice you are, Capricorn, and they take advantage of you because they think that they can. And so what that does is that causes you sometimes to be a person that you're not, and you're not always living from the heart space. You have a big heart and you know how to use it when it comes to doing for others. But what have you done for yourself lately, Capricorn? I feel like if you allow people to, they will drain you at the heart space and not give a fuck. And it takes away the ability for you to be the best of you that you can be. And so it's like the world, they're not getting to really know you because you don't even know yourself. And I feel like you have so many walls up that you don't allow people to get down to, where they can start to affect your heart. I feel like because you have such a big heart and because you want to see everybody smile and because you want to see everybody happy, you will go above and beyond for people, but you'll do it at the detriment of your own health. You'll do it at the detriment of your own peace. And I feel like moving forward, that's something that you need to work on. But I feel like when I see the heart chakra card, that says to me that you're going to be forming a better relationship with yourself. You'll have better value with yourself. And when you have better value with yourself and a better relationship with yourself, we don't allow people to just do us any type of fucking way. So I feel like for you, the big theme is going to be trying to live out, your dreams and live from the heart space and live all your heart's desires. But I feel like you're also going to have to create some boundaries as far as people just trying to use and abuse you. Does that make sense? The number 4 that I see up top, whenever we see the number 4, that's just a reminder that your angels are guiding you, that they are loving you, and that they are protecting you. So when I say angels, I don't just mean guardian angels. I mean angels on the other side, angels from the angelic realm. One thing that was really big for me and one thing that was really heavy for me was as I went through my own healing this year, I realized that from the other side, I'm feeling a lot of mother-like energy. So if Capricorn, you have had some grandmothers that passed or any type of a mother figure or any really important female in your life that is passed on to the other side, they are with you, loving you, guiding you, and protecting you and making sure that things are happening in the way for you that they need to happen. Angels, they don't really like to step, out of bounds. They don't like to do anything without permission, but, they'll gently nudge something in a direction of this way and that way if they need to. So that's just a reminder that you're always loved, Capricorn. You're always guided and you're always protected. I'm going to go ahead and do a message from the higher self. Sometimes when I do the cards, if they jump out, which this card just tried to do, then that means that there's a message. So the higher self definitely has something to say to you. But the number 6, like I said, is all about getting to know the inner child. So we're going to have tons of people wanting to explore their inner child next year. Oh. Name your higher self. Okay. So as we just got done talking about Capricorn, the higher self is our inner child, aka the 3-year-old part of us. Now, what I would like you to do, Capricorn, is if you are able to envision, if you can get a vision of yourself in your head from when you were about like 3, or if you from about 4, if you can envision that in your head, I want you to hold on to that. And the reason I want you to get a clear picture when it comes to this 3-year-old is because one really simple way, one way that I do it to connect to my higher self is I have a clear picture, first of all, of what my higher self looks like. Then when I have that clear picture of what my higher self looks like, I go back as an adult with my adult mind and I talk to my higher self and I get things clear with my higher self that may not have been clear. It's kind of like if you see a movie when you're 6 and then you turn around and see that movie when you're 18. You're going to have 2 completely different points of view because you have a child's mind and an adult mind. So one thing that I recommend for you, Capricorn, is you go back, you get to know that higher child, that 3-year-old part of yourself. Now, this says name your higher self. You already have a name, but I think something like this would be really helpful if, for instance, like when you were your higher self, when you were 3 or 4, if you had a nickname, like a family nickname or a nickname that someone called you that stuck. A lot of toddlers, they have, a nickname or a name that just their family calls them. Then refer back to that person. What I want you to do is I want you to write, do this one thing. There's this one thing called like intuitive writing and intuitive painting. And it's kind of where you get into the mindset that your 3-year-old is the one translating everything on paper. And you can either write or what you can do is paint. With the painting, I like that. That's cool because you'll start out drawing a picture and you don't know what you're doing, but you trust the process. And what's so cool about that is I think one day I'll show my pictures. But you end up doing this really cool piece of art. And if you can read anything, or if you know someone who can read something, there's messages in those pictures. It's like if anything happens with a child and a psychologist needs to find out, what they'll do is they'll call the kid down to their office and they'll tell the kid to draw a picture. What this does is it gives a clear picture of what it is that's going on in that child's brain. So you can do some intuitive drawing. You can do some intuitive writing. One thing that I like to do is I used to think about everything that I used to do when I was a little girl, not even necessarily just my 3-year-old self, but, I have my 8-year-old, we have all these different parts of us, but there were things that I used to like that, when I was little. And as I grew up and become an adult, I let those things go. Excuse me. So one thing that I like to do is I like to listen to music that I listened to when I was growing up. I grew up in the 90s. I'm a 90s baby. So I'll go back and listen to all that music. Or I used to have like all my diaries. I would read through that type of stuff. Anything that's going to connect you to the childlike part of yourself, you need to do it. But when I see this, it says name your higher self. I just feel like this is your 3-year-old self way of telling you, Capricorn, where are you? Now, it is very normal for us as adults to grow up and forget that we were a child. A lot of people don't walk around talking about their childhood every day because at one point or another in life, someone may have told us, okay, you can't be a child anymore. You need to get rid of, that, or you can't do this, or whatever the case is. And they've robbed that of our innocence. So when we grow up, especially when we become a teenager and adult, we're not fucking thinking about being a child because we had to let go of that. But the thing is, this life doesn't teach you. You need that part of you to move forward effectively. The goal here, Capricorn, is to come here as a child, grow into an adult, and use that childlike heart and that adult-like wisdom in combination. One of the biggest lies that this earth tells you is that you have to choose between your head or you have to choose between your heart. And that is not true. God created these two to work together. And I feel like where you're such a hard worker, Capricorn, and you're always pounding down to the metal, I feel like you are not using you're not using the childlike part of you to get shit done. That's the part that's going to unlock the passion in what you do, Capricorn. And I don't feel like you're using it. I feel like, and I say this because you have horns, all Capricorns do. I feel like you are so in your head about the things that you do that you don't ever stop and smell the roses and think about how that childlike part of you can really make things seem different. I feel like Capricorn, sometimes you are the one, and I don't want to come out to say it like this, but I feel like sometimes you are the one who is a negative Nancy. I feel like sometimes you are the one who thinks about everything so damn negatively. The reason you do that is because you're not living from the heart space. This is something that's clearly going to open up, but I also see that card is saying that this is something that you need to work on. I feel like you are not in your childlike essence because there are things, like I said, that has broken your heart and made you feel like you don't want to look back at that. You don't want to remember. But unfortunately, we all have to do the work. If you don't do the work, you can't go. And where are we going? We're going to a beautiful, beautiful, magical place where your vibration has to be the vibration of love, which, by the way, is the highest vibration of all vibrations. And if you are carrying hurt, if you are carrying pain, Capricorn, if you are carrying regret, if you are carrying guilt, you cannot go because vibrationally you're too heavy. So there is a lot of heart space work that you need to do this upcoming 2022. And there is a lot of getting to know your inner child that you need to do. Okay. Now there are two numbers on this card. The number is 35. Okay. So let's break it down. 3. That means that I feel like there are things that you want to do, but you're just talking. You're not moving. 3 means don't just talk about it, be about it. 3 means that the things that you think need to line up with the things that you say, need to line up with the things that you do. That's the thing about our higher self. A 3-year-old, that's the realest it's gonna fucking get. That's as real as it's going to get. Because 3-year-olds, they don't care about how they look to the kid next door. They don't care about what people think when they go to a grocery store and they're crawling all over the floor. They don't give a fuck. And that not giving a fuck is a gift. And parents, adults, we get secondhand embarrassment and we try to push that child to conform. But when we're 3, we already know who the fuck we are. And it's always a parent, somebody, a parent, a parent's friend, someone who tells you, you can't do that. You can't be that. So what happens? We start to form layers of a mask, the mask that we're going to wear out into society. And I feel like you may consider yourself somebody who's real, and you may consider yourself as somebody who's straight up. And I feel like a lot of people may view you that way, Capricorn. But how the fuck are you real if you can't even say what's in your heart and mean it? If you're not brave enough to go in here, how can you? Because I feel like not knowing what's going on here has you fucked up as far as what your self-worth is. And being fucked up as far as your self-worth is, it'll have you doing a lot of things you don't have to do and dealing with a lot of people you don't have to deal with. And I feel like, unfortunately for you, and you'll see the great side of this, Capricorn, next year in 2022, you are going to continue losing friends. Because when we start to love ourselves, something happens. We decide we don't want to participate in certain bullshit. We decide that we no longer have time for certain things. And what happens, and I feel like this is going to happen with you a lot, Capricorn, when people start to see that they can no longer fuck you over, when they start to see that they can no longer get over on you, you might lose some friends. Well, we won't even call them friends. I'll call them trauma bonds. You might lose some trauma bonds because your healing isn't going to fit these people. So I want to tell you, first and foremost, as you continue to lose people, it's not about you. God has to move people out of your life sometimes so that you can move in the right direction. It's kind of like when God tells you to sit down and you don't sit down. Now, he's got you sitting the fuck down because you didn't listen to him to sit down. So that's the exact situation that we're in. The 5 has to do with letting go. Continue to let go of the things that don't fit you. That's going to include people, places, and things. God is more interested in you doing the things that you truly want to do and what sits at the heart of your desires. But if you've got people using and abusing your energy, you'll never really see how beautiful life is because you'll always feel used up, okay? When we add the 3 and 5 together of the 35, that is 8. 8 means you reap what you sow. You get what you put out. So when it comes to heart healing, when it comes to maneuvering your life into a space that your heart is pleased with in 2022, it all depends on what you decide to do. In the Bible, God likes to talk a lot about seasons. And although we have 4 seasons, yes, there are, when we think about like what a season means, also we think about season as a specific time point in someone's life. So the thing that I'm picking up on, Capricorn, is over the winter, if you're not tending to the shit that needs to be taken care of, if you're not planting any seeds, if you're not putting, your all into doing the work, not just the work that people can see, the inner work, then you forget about it. Because everybody has to do the work. I feel like I have to keep telling you this, Capricorn, because you're so stubborn and you don't like to listen. And I feel like you think that you've always been able to do it yourself and blah, 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 blah. And that's great and everything. But when God designed us, he didn't design it for us to be like that. He designed it so that we can all help each other out. So when I keep repeating to you that you have to do the work, it's just so you know that, you know, you may feel like you have everything figured out, but what am I missing? What's going on? What's wrong? You haven't done the work. Okay. So understand that what you put into healing, you get out. Okay. You can't lie about it. You can't fake that. This is something you have to be authentic about. You can't pretend to do the work, Capricorn. You really have to do the fucking work. Okay. We're going to go ahead and sweeten the pot for you with the Archangel Oracle card. Like I said, these are all about angels. The fact that you got a 4, I think is really cool, because then me pulling from this deck means that there's extra angel protection, that you are extra protected. Okay. All right. Spiritual understanding. A little background about archangels. So archangels, there are 12 archangels. There's different hierarchies of angels, but there's like 12 or 13 archangels. And God gave each of them like a sector to take care of. So when I'm saying these names, these are the different archangels. Now, 2 that people know about is, you know about Archangel Michael, which he slays fear with his huge lightning sword, and he makes sure that nobody's afraid, and he helps with negative energy and, you know, certain things like that. He's really the one that God, you know, gave the duty of taking care of humanity. And then you have Gabriel, which helps with, like, you know, nurturing and taking care of children. And so those are the 2 archangels that people really know of, but there's other ones. Okay. This one is spiritual understanding. You probably can't see this card. Ooh. Okay, here we go. Spiritual understanding. It says, it's Archangel Raziel. I am bringing you esoteric information and symbols and helping you understand spiritual paths. So let me kind of explain how this ties in a little bit, Capricorn. So make a really long story short. When God created all of us, he created us to have the same gifts that he has, pretty much. Okay. And when we got here on Earth is so low vibrational that all of the things that he put inside of us, all of the specialness and everything that we can do, we're not able to access it, because when we come here to the Prince's Playground, we're not made aware of all these special things about us, because he doesn't want us to know. They don't want us to know the special things about us. So when we start to discover these parts of us, we look crazy. Archangel Raziel is telling you, pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to the symbols. Pay attention to the numbers. One really fascinating thing about numbers is, before there was an English language, before there was any of that, what was there? Numbers. Numbers is simple angel communication. If you know numbers, you can decode damn near anything. And when you can decode things with these numbers and start looking at numbers and seeing where numbers are, you start to realize that there is no fucking coincidence. Our subconscious recognizes symbols, just like how, you know, people will say that symbols are snuck into movies, and our subconscious recognizes all that shit. So we pick up and we know what it means on a subconscious level, but consciously we don't pick any of that shit up. As we move into 2022, and our heart space expands, Capricorn, and that means your heart space too. It's going to be for you. The way that I'm having that relationship with him. So he knows that you crave having that relationship with him. So if you're paying attention, he's going to show you different things. He's going to start to unlock the secrets of the universe to you. So pay attention to your numbers. Pay attention to your symbols. In the 2022, we're also going to be doing a lot of studying. We're also going to be getting to know things that we don't know. God says, for my people perish for lack of knowledge. We have to stop listening to the shit that we're told and start studying up. Capricorn, I know you pride yourself in being smart. I know you pride yourself in doing shit. You need to study. This next year, the vibe I'm getting for you is to relax and heal. Stop burning the candle at both ends. Stop moving. Give yourself a break. Still, when we are just being, when we are just being, sitting still, we are more in alignment with how we were made and what we were made for than when we actually do, because we were created to be. What were we created to be? Love. When your being vibrates from love, when you vibrate from a place of love, you're in alignment with everything. That means the world is open to you because the highest vibration is love. You know what else is made out of love? Light. Again, the highest vibration. That's why people talk about how, unconditional love is so powerful and so magical. If you ever read any type of a metaphysical book, it'll start to go in on how important the heart space is and all this, because, it opened up. And so as you move into 2022, relax, pull back, okay? Moving on to Aquarius. All right, Aqua. All right, Aquarius. The card that I got for you, firm foundation. Firm foundation, okay? So on this card, I have the number 4 and I see red. Red has to do a lot with the root chakra, and that also has to do with stability, feeling grounded, feeling stable, feeling grounded, feeling like you are provided for, feeling like you are safe. And again, there's a 4 here, so that has a lot to do with angel protection. Next year for you, Aquarius, I feel like you're going to be continuing to lay down the foundation for your life. I feel like this past year, you've had to let go of the exploding that you like to do, the popping the fuck off that you like to do. You've had to let go of some built up resentment, some anger issues that you've had. You've had to let go of some people that have hurt you. And I feel like for you, Aquarius, it was a painful process because you like to they don't call you the water bear for no reason. They call you the water bear because the water is you carrying the weight of your family and friends, you caring so much that you want to see everybody win and you want to see everybody happy, to the point that maybe some people have done you dirty as fuck. But I feel like you're finding out that one thing about success, Aquarius, is that you can't take everybody with you. Everybody can't go. Everybody doesn't deserve to go. And I feel like the way that you've always cared about family and the way you've always cared about friends, this is your year. This is your year to care about you. This is your year to make sure that you have everything that you need. I feel like you may have grown up caring for other people your whole life. You might have been in a situation to where you've taken care of your siblings. You might have been in a situation to where you might have had to grow up a little sooner than expected, or a little sooner than you may have wanted. And I feel like something about not being able to be a child has fucked with your foundation. It has fucked with your stability. And so I feel like because you have dealt with that for so long, last year was a year of unloading that. I feel like you had some unworthiness issues to deal with, maybe some abandonment issues to deal with. I feel like you have started the process of unloading this year, and moving into 2022, that's what you're going to be continuing to do. I feel like you're going to be building firmer foundations. You may be moving, getting an apartment, maybe getting a house. I feel like if you have kids, you're wanting to build a legacy. You're wanting to build something to leave behind for your children, your children's children. If you're a grandparent, I feel like this is going to be a year of stability for you. I feel like you're going to be doing better financially. You're going to be, like I said, a home, a house. I feel like I feel like you're not going to be doing too bad financially this year. I just feel like you're going to have all the firm foundations that you need. The 4, again, Aquarius, 4 means that you are loved, guided, and protected by your angels, and that they are supporting you at all times. It's just a reminder that you are so loved. Okay. Pulling from the higher self. Oop. Get grounded. Okay. This card has a number 2 on it. So Aquarius, what I was just talking about was you being more firm and more rooted. Maybe this year, from all the letting go that you've done, I feel like I said, relationships. A lot of it has kind of fucked with your head. Like I said, you've been doing the emotional work, you've been working through, but that doesn't mean that it hasn't been a mind fuck for you. I feel like it has been a complete mind fuck, but I feel like you need to focus. You're the type of person that you care so much. Like I said, you care for others so much that you'll let family or friends you'll put them before yourself, and you can't do that this year. You have to stay focused. God is calling for you to stay focused on what's best for you. One piece of advice: if you are anywhere where you're able to go outside and get to the dirt, I would highly recommend taking off your shoes or socks, getting down, like putting your feet down in the dirt, and just kind of like meditating and staying there and kind of visualizing like your feet being firmly rooted into the ground. Visualization is such a powerful tool. But what that does is that helps you feel rooted and it helps you feel anchored. It's kind of like imagining that you're a tree. Like a tree is rooted, but a tree knows that it's provided for. It knows that it's taken care of. Rain, shine, snow, and it doesn't waver. It's just firm. And so trees, nature, they teach us so much about our role. I feel like also part of getting that's going to help you keep your energy. This year, you can't be wasting your energy on bullshit. You're not going to be wasting, you're not even going to have time for bullshit in 2022. But I feel like you have to get grounded and you have to get rooted. And I think part of that, Aquarius, is paying attention, seeing who's got the best, seeing who has the best intentions for you. And I feel like that's going to be in love life and friendships. And I feel like you need to find balance between living here and being from here. When I say living here, I mean Earth. Living on Earth. But like I've said, and like I'll continue to say, we are not from here. We are children of God. So we are from above. This right here, this is just an experience. This is just a school. This body is just a loner. We're not. You have to find the balance between living here and not being from here. So for me, what I mean when I say that, because I feel this, I feel like you've lived and you've pleased the flesh for so long, Aquarius. But what are you feeding the soul? Okay. You may be somebody who likes sex. You may be somebody who likes to eat. You may be somebody who likes to smoke weed. You may be somebody who likes to party. Flesh, 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 flesh. But what are you doing for the soul? That's what's going to help you get grounded. If you haven't let the alcohol go, you're going to let it go. If you haven't let the drugs go, you're going to, because as God knows we're not perfect. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, but he knows that there are things that we have to shed with his help, of course, with his assistance, with his faith. And as we continue to do that, we're going to get more balanced. It's a spiritual war out here. And in order to be ready for the spiritual war, Aquarius, you have to be built up spiritually. That's why I say, what are you feeding the soul? Maybe it's time to read some self-help books or some motivational books. Maybe it's time to find a podcast that resonates. Maybe it's time to get a new journal and start writing again. If you're an artist, maybe it's time to start drawing again. But it's time to get firm and it's time to get grounded. With all the crazy shit happening out in this world, you have to get grounded and you have to find things that pull you back down to earth. Do not let all of the things happening around you distract you from your purpose, okay? This year, your purpose is finding foundation and rebuilding or building. If you haven't started building, maybe some of you have lost everything in the process and now you're building again. Or maybe some of you have just never had the chance to build and now all of a sudden you're building. But you need to stay focused in that, okay? Okay, pulling an angel card for you, Aquarius. All right, Aquariuses. So this card that I got here is relationship harmony. Oh no, you guys probably can't see it. It's got a lot. There you go. Relationship harmony. This is Archangel Raguel. So this specific archangel, he is in charge of creating harmony in relationships, not just love relationships, but any type of relationship that someone is involved in. It says we angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. So I've talked about you losing friends this past year. I've talked about it being a mind fuck for you, Aquarius. Let people go. Don't hold a lot of anger about the people that are no longer in your life, because you have to put into perspective, Aquarius, that we're all here going through shit. Not just you. It's not just about you. And because we're all here going through shit, we all aren't ourselves right now. We're not ourselves anyway, because we're a bunch of big ass, well, most of us are a bunch of big ass children acting out our traumas in our adult life. But the people that have disappointed you this year, let them go, okay? Because God is restoring and recleansing anybody's heart who has asked for it. I would love to sit here and say everybody, but we're not all God's people. That's just the facts. And while he's out here renewing and cleansing some hearts, you may be getting a few apologies this year. There may be some people who acted out of line with you. This may be a partner, a love relationship. This may be a friend, a cousin, a sibling. This may be a parent who acted out of line. Maybe a grandparent who said some shit they had no business saying. Let God handle them. What another person feels about you and what they say about you, as long as you're in the right, is none of their business, okay? You have to worry about you and do everything that you need to do for you, because as you're working on yourself, as you're building your foundation, Aquarius, people are going through all these different things. So you kind of have to let just God take care of the rest, and know, like I said, that there's angels working in the background doing everything that's the highest and best for you. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead to Pisces. Pisces moving into 2022. I don't want to mix these cards up. All right, so we're looking for our main energy for 2022, Pisces. Our main energy. If anyone hasn't caught on, the energy stands for energy. We are all made out of energy. Everything is made out of energy. God is energy, aka energy. So when I talk about the energy, when I talk about all of our energy, I'm talking about our energy, our inner God. And like I've said before, our inner God is a 3-year-old child. Children are way closer to God than us adults are, because we're so tainted. We've been so tainted on the years that we've lived here, and we don't even realize it. A lot of us realize it now because there's like some huge rapture ass experience, conscious shifting going on. But before that, a lot of us didn't realize how lost in the sauce we were. Okay. So Pisces, for you, what I have is 9. I got to say, I'm not surprised. Spiritual strength. Pisces, you are a spiritual sign. You've always been a spiritual sign. All water signs, we feel, we hear, we see. Some of us are too fucking scary to tap into it, but that's what water does. Water is just amazing. It's one of those things that it can carry communications, and you just got to think of the property of what water is. So I feel like this last year here, Pisces, your relationship with God has been tested. I feel like you've had some questions. I feel like if you're not, I feel like I'm not religious, but I feel like if you had no sense of belief in God, that, before this year or before all this craziness started happening in 2019, I feel like it's definitely something that you're looking into. You're stepping more into your spiritual power. You're starting to, some of you, I feel like, maybe on the page where you're hearing, your sense of hearing when it comes to like clairaudience, or your sense of seeing, or your sense of feeling, any of the clairs, I feel like that has intensified. And I feel like that has helped put a shift in your belief in God. Now, it's not about, and I have to say this because it's important to me, it's not about religion. This is not about religion. This is not about conversion. This is not about none of that shit. This is about knowing that there's a God and acknowledging there's a God. How you want to think of God, because really God is everything, is up to you. You know, seeking you will find, Matthew 7:7. But it's about knowing that there's a God, knowing our relationship to him, knowing that he put us here for a purpose, and figuring out what that purpose is so we can turn all the glory to him. And while we're doing that, he's taking care of us because we are sons and daughters of a king. That's what this shit is about. There is purple around this card. This is the spiritual color, crown chakra. So I feel like where some of you may have heard about that dude named God, you know, you might have, heard a few things about him. You may be a little familiar with him. I feel like this year, Pisces, your relationship with him is definitely going to increase, because us water signs, we got some real special, important shit we got to do. I understand that your relationship would be this different because, like I said, tons of people's heart space is opening up. We're moving into authenticity. Pisces is the original lovers, the original sign of loving. Pisces care about world peace, love. That's their thing. They're like the OG hippie. And so, of course, someone who naturally is tapped into a place of love, someone who naturally cares about love, of course, you're going to, you know, really shine when we're in the sixth energy, when we're in the heart space, because that's what it's about. It's about love. But I also feel like this year there may be some teaching opportunities intertwined with spirituality for you, Pisces. So some of you might be in a position to where now you're starting to use your clairaudience or claircognizance or clairvoyance to help other people. Now, there's so much propaganda and there's so much bullshit, but I'm telling you, if you wake up one day and you have these gifts, you are not evil. God gave you these gifts for a reason, and it is your job to figure out how to use them. When people scare you about these things, when people scare you about being who you are, and Pisces, this is just who the fuck you are. They pull you away from God because now you're scared and you're in fear and all this. God is nothing to be scared of, honey. The only reason you should be scared of God is if you did some shit you had no business doing, hurting children. Can't do that. There ain't no forgiveness there. But we all sin. He knows that we all sin. He knows that we all make mistakes. So that's not what this is about. This is about the fact that you have a gift that is going to start developing. It is going to start getting strong. The number on this card is 9. 9 stands for, how can I be of service? Like I said, your spiritual gifts, you're going to start using them as service. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You get these spiritual gifts and they're new to you. Don't you dare go out here in the world and start charging people crazy amounts for readings. That's selfish. I didn't think you would do it anyway. Start with a donation scale, okay? It'll take care of a lot of legal issues on if everything is donation based, and it'll get you practice. Do lots of free this, free that to practice. You have a gift. You need to start honing in on it in 2022, okay? The more your heart space opens up, the more that you accept the fact that there's a God. And when you receive these gifts, whatever it may be, you accept the fact that that is your gift and you are not afraid of your gift. God can work with you. Let go, Pisces. Let it go. 2021, 2 + 0 + 2 + 1. All about letting go. All about letting go of the things that no longer fit you, okay? We've all had to go through 2021. So we all went through that energy of unloading, of getting rid of things. Pisces, you're a lover. You have a soft, sensitive heart. I want to say you're becoming better with people. See, Pisces, you guys just want to be liked and you just want to be loved. Who doesn't want to be loved? A lot of people don't give a fuck about being liked, but you are the sign of love. So it's not like you care about being liked Like when you were a child, you probably cared a lot about being liked. Like you probably really wanted to be liked by people, because Pisces, that's how it translates. When you're so loving, you're a child, you just want to be liked and you just want to be everybody's friend. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like those people pleasing behaviors, you still have some of those, because sometimes you don't want to hurt people. And it's okay to not want to hurt people, but you have to do what's best for you, Pisces. So same thing. You're going to continue to let go. Let go of negativities. Let go of stubbornness. Let go of prejudgments about things. I feel like sometimes you guys don't give new opportunities, new things a chance, because you have just, when you're made up in your mind, and I feel like you're the only water sign that's like this. When you're made up in your mind, sometimes it can be really hard to change your mind, and sometimes it can be really hard to get you to fucking listen. So I just need you to continue letting go, continue unloading. The number on this card is 27. So 2 means find balance. Find balance in reality and dreaming. Pisces, you guys like to dream. Planet of Neptune. And one thing that's so special about you, Pisces, is you guys are such dreamers, and you're on that line of reality and dreaming, and you get so caught up with, dreaming. Some people may say your guys' head is up in the clouds. You dream a lot. You're fantasy, blah, 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 blah. And the dreaming part that you have down, that's special and that's magical, because we could all use that gift. We could all benefit from understanding that gift, because that's lightweight manifestation. Like you are a manifestation pro and you don't even fucking know it. But you guys are so able to reach into reality and pull things from reality pull things from dreams into reality. And so that's a gift that you need to hone in on. And in order to do that, you're going to have to let go of a lot of stagnant energy to continue to free flow. Okay. So you have to make sure that you're finding balance, balancing yourself, balancing living here, not being from here. And 7 has to do with rewards. So this card says that if you continue to let go of the things that no longer fit you, God is going to reward you. When you do the things necessary, when you try to get into alignment, God can work with you, okay? 2 and 7 is 9. 9, yet again, how can you be of service? This is telling me that in 2022, it's time for you to shine, Pisces, because we all need to understand love. We all need to see what it feels like and what it is like to be a genuine loving being. And that is something that you can teach us. Not to mention, Pisces, you can feel. Just like I'm a Cancer, Scorpio moon, Pisces midheaven, I can feel. And that's what makes us so special. For so long, Pisces, you may have been taught that being sensitive was, who wants to be sensitive? You may have been taught that it's a weakness. That is something to cry about. No, baby. This year is your year. People are going to be coming to you asking for advice this year, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get the angel card. How can you be of service? When you obtain these gifts and when you get good at whatever it is that God's blessing you with, and it might not be, well, actually, no. Here I see some type of spiritual gift, some type of gift that touches it. You could be Pisces. Y'all love music. You could be a conscious creator, someone who is consciously creating music and using that conscious music to help others. I know a few Pisces. Y'all could be poets and have poetry, healing poetry. You could be into sound bowls, healing technology. You could start to study plants, study flowers, and be into flower plant medicine. But there's some spiritual gift that you have that is necessary to humanity. And 2022, you got to get on it. Okay. Uh-oh. All right, Aquarius. Know what you want to do. Archangel Uriel, trust your inner knowledge and act upon it without delay. Sometimes, Pisces, and you may know this already, when God talks, sometimes it's amazing because he'll send clues. Like you might be listening to a movie and you might be zoned out this whole movie, and then they'll say one specific thing and bam, you notice it, okay? Or you might be somewhere and there may be a song playing in the background. All of a sudden, boom, like a sentence of this song sticks out, okay? When stuff like that happens, pay attention, okay? Because those are messages. If you have a thought, a brilliant idea, a brilliant thought, and it comes to any type of a healing thing or your capability to heal, write it down. Write it down. I'm feeling like you also need to trust your gut. As you move through 2022, there's going to be your gut, which is the sacral chakra, which is like right where, I would show you, but I'm not going to. Your gut, that is where your sacral chakra is at. And that is where you are able to pick up hunches. And so the thing is, you need to trust those hunches moving along. Trust that hunch, Aquarius, okay? I mean, not Aquarius, Pisces. Trust that hunch. When we learn to trust those hunches, when we learn to strengthen those hunches, God sees that we trust those things, and he continues to make it so that he continues to drop clues. And as we pick on them, sixth sense is like a muscle. You pick it up, okay? Deep inside, I feel like you know what you want to do. And as you spend time with your higher child, as you spend time with your inner child, Pisces, you will start to live more authentically and align with where you need to go, okay? Aries. All right, Aries. I see a theme here, and this is kind of like a warning. Distractions. Oh, I don't know why I thought it said distractions. That was weird. It says transformation. 13, transformation. Okay. You, my love, have been doing the inner work, because this is the lady on the card who it has her body actually is gray, like she has no color, so she doesn't matter. The focus is more on the higher self. So I see that you are going to be transforming, continuing to transform, continuing to unload, continuing to build that relationship with the higher self. Good job, Aries. 1 means we create whatever we think about. So continue to think good things. Continue to have good thoughts for yourself, Aries, as you move forward. Because as we think, we're pulling things into our reality. One thing is about it is, as the heart space opens up in 2022, as the heart space is bigger, we're going to be living more authentically. As we live more authentically, our heart space in combination with our brain, we may start to notice things that we think about or things that we want show up faster in our reality. That's the biggest clue that we are aligned. And when things take forever to show up for us, when things take forever to manifest for us, that means that we're not in alignment when things take time, okay? 3, that means continue to balance that relationship with the higher self. But it also means that don't just talk about it, be about it. Make sure that what you think lines up with what you do, lines up with what you think, lines up with what you do, lines up, or think, say, and do. Make sure that all 3 of those things line up, okay? 3 and 1 is 4. Angels. That just means that you are loved, you are guided, you are protected. Aries, I'm going to be pulling a card for the higher self. Okay. Feed your spirit. All right. We are made up of 2 parts, okay? We are made up of the soul and we are made up of the flesh. The flesh is what we feed every single day walking around the devil's playground. We always give into the flesh. One thing that we are not taught outside of like any religious place, unfortunately, is that we are not always taught to feed our spirit. How do you feed your spirit? You read books, self-care, spa days. It's not anything that necessarily have to cost money, but it's things that you give that make yourself feel good. You know, eating healthy foods. When we eat vegetables, when we eat fruit, we're eating high vibrational things. When we do that, it allows us to zero in, and it allows us to raise our vibration. Okay. The number on this card is 47. So again, the 4 has to do with angel communication. You are loved, you are guided, and you are protected. This card, to me, it's a 7. 7 is rewards, and 7 is also God's favorite number. So 7 means a combination with the 4. You are loved, you are guided, and protected in your process of healing, in your process of transformation and change. Continue to feed your spirit. You're doing a good job there. And as you continue to feed your spirit, you'll be rewarded. You will be rewarded. 7 and 4, 11. That's a master number. That's just reminders to think happy thoughts. And I also feel like your thought processes are changing too. You're finding yourself more positive. That may be because you've let go of some people that didn't need to be around you. You've let go of some habits that you should not have participating in. But either way, I do see you getting rewards for doing what you need to do and getting it and taking an active role in your own healing process. Good job, Aries. Since a year of healing for you. Okay. You've started that process. So you're a little bit, above the ball that you started that process. Now you're a fire sign. I know that fire's slowing down and it's making it easy for you to do this. I don't mean the fire slowing down as far as taking care of business, but you're not lighting shit on fire the way you were before. And we appreciate that. Relationship harmony. We are angels opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. Again, if you have had any, now we've all lost people. We've all lost friends. We've all lost people, whether it be a physical death this past year, whether it be, an ego death, maybe it just was a friendship that wasn't right. We've all lost a lot of shit this year. Okay. In losing that stuff, we gain, because we gain perception. We gain understanding and understanding of people. The people that are not in your life may not be meant to be in your life. I know sometimes we have memories and we miss people, but I feel like if there's anything that needs to be healed or resolved, let go and let God, because your journey, your path for this year is to continue healing, okay? To work on you, to keep doing the deep work, to keep working on the inner child and the shadow work, okay? All right, moving on. Taurus. Love a good Taurus. All right, Taurus. Oh, okay. Shadow. All right, Taurus. First thing that I'm hearing before I even really get into it is this year is going to be time to work on that asshole side. Now, I hate to call you guys an asshole, but typically you guys have like an anger problem. We all know about the famous Taurus temper. And I feel like, obviously, I mean, if you study a human being, all of that comes from somewhere. All of that comes from something. I feel like you have tried to bury your dark parts. I feel like you have tried to just forget that there are parts of you that you don't like. You try to forget that there are parts of you that you don't want to show other people. There's just parts of yourself that you try to forget and bury. Can't do it. We all have to do the work. And part of doing the work is looking at the things that aren't pretty about us, okay? This person has a light part and it has a dark part. You are being called to look into the shadow. Shadow work is just a really dark way of saying inner child healing. That's pretty much what shadow work means. It is time for you to do the work. It is time for you to heal the inner child. It is time for you to speak to your inner child, to that dark part of you, and start working through things. There are books, there are inner child healing programs. I know there's probably tons of YouTube videos on, how-tos. And I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's something that you need to work at. The one on this card is a reminder that what we think creates our reality. You have a choice. You have a choice whether you decide to think good things or bad things, Taurus. And some of you are so stubborn and so dead set in feeling sorry for yourself sometimes, feeling down on yourself sometimes, that you don't always see the silver lining. And because you don't always see the silver lining, you're just not the most positive. It's easier for you to bury shit than confront it. You can't do it anymore. The year of sweeping the rug over, the year of sweeping shit under the rug, that's through, because we let all that go in 2021. So this year, if you don't get this shit together, Taurus, is going to be an accountable hard year for you. Okay. You are a lover in your own right because your planet is the ruling planet of Venus, but you have to learn self-acceptance and love for yourself, which is what this year is all about. So that's perfect. But the key to that for you is looking at the very dark things that you have to uncover. Okay. The 8 on here, you reap what you sow. You give what you put out. Okay. 1 and 8 is 9. 9 is about being of service. It is about helping others. So to combat that asshole energy that you carry, or that people say you are an asshole, a way that you can combat that energy is a way to combat that energy is to do nice things, do caring things, be of service, hold a door, bring your grandma something that she likes, go over and spend time with your niece and nephew, surprise your sister, be of service, do things that make you feel good, do things that say, I'm not an asshole, do things with action. Okay. Higher self. See the solution. These cards are talking. See the solution. Okay. This is just what we talked about with the first card when I said sometimes you're not able to see the silver lining. I have this quote that I like to say, and I don't even know where it came from, but it goes, if you're not a part of don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution. How are you a part of a solution? You try to come up with good things to fix a problem. Sometimes there's certain people in life that when they're met with a problem, and I feel like you get so upset and so angry, and it's like, and it's like everybody run because you're so upset and you're so angry. But at the same time, it's like, if you just calm down and take a breath for a moment and work on your anger, you'll see that there's always a solution. There's always choices. There's always options. We might not always be satisfied with the solution, but when you're angry, we can't see. When anyone's angry, we can't see clearly. Taurus, you see red. You don't see shit. And it's caused you a lot of problems. And I feel like moving into 2022, there may be some problems because of your bad attitude. I mean, it just depends on the way we look at things. And you're prone to look at things, angrily or from a certain point of view. And with that sometimes comes, a lot more than it's really all worth. It's like you can juice a situation up to be 10 times more than it really needs to be. But if you just calm down, you can see the signs. So I'm seeing you need to spend more time out in nature to get into the vibration of what it is to be still, for what it is to have peace, for what it is to see. One thing that can really help people with that is plants. Okay. 4, you are loved, guided, protected by the angels. 6, spend time with your higher self. Do the shadow work, aka the inner child healing work. We all have to do that work, okay? 6 and 4 is 10, new beginnings, okay? Once you stop popping the fuck off and start calming down and thinking about shit from a rational mind, you might start to notice that life looks a hell of a lot different because you're vibrating from a different space and place, okay? Angel Taurus. Passion. Trust and follow Archangel Haniel. Trust and follow your renewed passion in your love life and career. All right, Taurus. So part of loving ourselves and part of having self-love and part of, having love for the self, that is, what we'll see relationships increase, more authentic relationships, because you are working from a place of being real. You are working from a place of being authentic. Now, one of the things that I talked about this past year, Taurus, was your ruling planet being Venus. You share that with Libra. And there are certain parts of yourself that we see that come from Venus, but then there are certain parts that we don't. Like, we see your sexual side. You love sex. We know that you're highly sexual, but it's not very often that we get to see your artistic part. It's not very often that, you'll brag on your work. If some of you are photographers or something, we all choose what we brag about when it comes to ourselves. But I feel like for you, you usually will focus on like your looks or sex or something of beauty. When we want to see what's in your head, we want to see what's in your brain. We want to get to know more of you than you're sexy or sexual, okay? And passion is something that can come out in an act of sex, of course, but there's other things that can be sexy, and things that are sexy is seeing what a person does for work, the way that they enjoy that. And we know you're hard workers, Taurus. So we just ask that, in your journey of self-acceptance and doing the inner child work, that you feel free ultimately to show us more of who you are, because that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see, Taurus. Okay. Gemini. All right, Gemini, let's see it. One more good one. Whoop. Okay. Gemini, what I'm seeing here for you is suffering in silence. Okay. All right, Gemini. So the one thing that I'm getting off of this, Gemini, is you guys are when I think of a Gemini, I think of a life of a party. Someone who loves to have a good time, someone who loves to see everybody have a good time, someone who is all for the kids, someone who loves the children. I feel like you're always smiling, always doing for other people, always making sure, kind of the same energy as an Aquarius, always making sure your loved ones are good. But who's worrying about you? Who's making sure that you're good? And I feel like you're so used to worrying about other people that you have become used to ignoring yourself. You've become used to not taking care of yourself, Gemini. And so essentially, yes, you are suffering in silence because you're not letting people know what's going on with you. Now, Gemini, I know you guys are an air sign. You're an intellectual. So feelings is not really your thing. Feelings have never really been your thing. But this year, I feel like, because I know we're all working on, because there's 3 2s in 2022. So along with the 6 energy, of course, I'm looking at the fact that, okay, this 2 energy is multiplied, and 2 is about balance. 2 is about relationships. 2 is about communication. I feel like you are going to start getting the help that you need for yourself. Now, this might not technically be like a therapist, or this might technically be like you know, someone, some mental, a therapist or a psychologist or anything. I feel like you're going to start getting the help you need as far as you have people in your life, or you will meet people in your life this year that you feel like it's okay to open up with, that you feel like it's okay to talk to. You're not an emotional sign, so much to the point that you almost feel like sometimes showing emotion makes you weak. Showing emotion makes you human, and we're all human. So at one point or another, we're all going to show emotion. Emotion is going to be shown. And I feel like you're doing a lot of suffering in silence when you don't have to. This card right here, you see this girl and she's looking out to the sunset, and you see all this white, bright light. It's time to get on your knees. It's time to talk to God. Like I said, we're not talking about religion here. This is not about religion. God is God. God is not man. Religion is man-made. We're just going to put the facts out there right now. I'm talking about just God. You come from a loving, beautiful Father. You were made a loving, beautiful individual, and you were not put here to let suffering be the end game. It's shitty and it sucks that we all come here innocent children with the best of dreams and the best of intentions, and somewhere in life they get crushed, and it fucking sucks. But you don't have to suffer in silence. Gemini, you have a lightheartedness. You have a big, beautiful, kind heart. The way that you are able to go into that childlike place with children, that's very special. Like Geminis, you're the ones that you don't want nobody fucking with your shit. But when it comes to the kids can have anything. The kids can have candy. The kids can have your gum. They can have your perfume. They can have whatever, because they're kids. You have that special relationship with kids. But when you're suffering in silence, what is that weighing on? That's weighing on the heart space. We're moving into 2022, and you need that heart space energy. You need as much of that as possible. So this year, I feel like it's going to be too heavy for you. And as your heart space opens up, you're going to start unloading it. You are no longer going to suffer in silence. You are going to start taking care of yourself on an emotional basis. You are going to learn how to deal with your emotions. You're going to form what's called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is when we start to become aware of what our emotions are in a moment. And instead of acting out, we mentally process our emotions. We mentally process the things that are going on with us. So that is something that I feel, it's new territory for you, but you are an air sign, and this is a mental battle. So I feel like in the right space and place, around the right people, the right environment, God in your life, you will start to work through that. When things are heavy for us, God asks that we give that to him. There's nothing on this earth, honey, that we have to go through that we're not able to say, you know what, Father, it's too heavy for me. Take it. He will definitely take it from you because you're calling on him. When we call on God, it shows him that we have faith. When we show God that we have faith, baby, that is the key. Okay? 9 is all about, that's the number on the card. How can I be of service? You can't be of service if you're in a sad space and a sad place. So one thing that I encourage you to do whenever you're feeling sad, whenever you're feeling down, be kind. Not even just to others, but be kind to yourself. How can you be of service in 2022, Gemini? Be kind. Be kind to other people, but most importantly, be kind to yourself. When you are kind to yourself and you show yourself love, you see how not only your vibration changes, but the way we show up in the world changes, okay? I feel like part of the reason you suffer in silence, Gemini, is because you work so fucking hard. You work down to the bone. You don't need to do that this year. You need to learn how to be. This is going to be such a fucking transformational year for people. They don't, this year's really not going to require much from us, but resting, chilling, being, and creating, okay? Gemini, okay. Get a new story. All right, Gemini. So, You know, we grow up and we go through shit. I'll show you the card. Get a new story, okay? We grow up, we go through shit, whatever. That's our story. Our story is, if someone says, okay, well, tell me a little bit about you, and you tell them about you. Gemini, you're dramatic. You're just dramatic, okay? And so your story might be a little more, detailed than anybody else's story. You might go into your super sad childhood and your not so great teenage years and your so early 20s. And, and it's all great and everything. But like, when we grow, when we change who we are mentally, the story we tell about ourselves to people changes. And I feel like some of you have been dealing with a slight depression. I feel like some of you may have been drinking too much to cover it. There may be some drug use. I feel like there has been some escapism, not wanting to deal with reality. We're all going through shit. And we are all, because I notice patterns. I listen to people and I see things. We are all thinking about our childhoods. That's tough shit right there. And we're all digging down into those layers and trying to figure out, whether we're vocal about it or not, we're all trying to figure out what the fuck went wrong in our childhoods. You know what I'm saying? We're all trying to figure out who we are. And I feel like the story you have about yourself, Gemini, is a sad story. And every time you play that story on a loop over and over and over and over again, you're manifesting the same thoughts, the same behaviors, the same. And you need to do different. Okay? Who are you? Who have you become? Okay? That is what you need to decide. Who am I? Who have I become? Okay? Once you decide who you are and who you've become, you'll start to tell yourself a story about who you are. And real short and sweet, Gemini, you're either the victim or you're a survivor. Okay? Only you can decide what part you're going to play. Now, some of y'all like to play that, like to pretend to be a survivor and feeling very victimized. You're out of alignment because you're not being real to yourself. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to fake it. You can be real. It's safe and it's all right to be authentic, Gemini. Okay? You need to get a new story. You need to really sit down and think before you go into 2022, tell me who you are. Don't tell me. Tell yourself, who am I? Okay? Tell yourself who you want to be. And then think about what your story is. And if you don't like the way that story sounds, you need to fucking change it. It's not that we don't sympathize with you. But in 2022, we're not celebrating toxicity. We're not celebrating being a victim. We're not celebrating that anymore. We live in a society that says that victimization and toxicity is cute. No, it's not. And you have to separate your mind from that. Okay? Time to get a new story, not the old dramatic story. Spend time in nature. Spend time with the inner child. The numbers on the card is 41. 41. 4 means you're loved, you're guided, and protected by your angels at all times. They're always there for you. 1 means whatever we think, we create, which is why I said, if you're continuing to tell this sad story about yourself, never mentioning your accomplishments, never mentioning the things that you've done that are grand on a grand scale, well, then you're fucking yourself because you're telling a sad story. And it's time to move from the sad story. You don't have to be a victim anymore. 4 and 1 is 5. That means it's time to let go. Let go of the sad. It's not suiting you any better. If you are someone who likes to drink, Gemini, let go of the drink. It's a depressant. It's not doing anything but making you sadder. It's not doing anything but making you more depressed. It's not doing anything but killing your spirit, sucking your spirit, your soul dry. I mean, it's really the equivalent to getting a 3-year-old drunk. You know, people don't think about it like that. When we drink alcohol, that is why we start acting like kids and shit, because we are getting our 3-year-old higher self drunk. You don't want to do that to yourself anymore, Gemini. I know you don't want to do that to yourself anymore because A, you wouldn't be here if you wanted to. And B, God loves you so much because the greatest in the kingdom of heaven are children. And you fucks with the children hard. the long way. Okay. All right. Patience. Rome was not built overnight, Gemini. You have to be kind to yourself, like I said, the first card, and you have to be patient with your process. Be kind and be patient. That's why I told you to spend time with nature, because nature, trees, flowers, get you a plant, become a plant mom, a plant dad. They teach you about stillness, okay? The plant is symbolic of us, okay? And we, the people, the person, the being, we are in that sense kind of relatable to God, in the sense that we nurture and we take care of the plant the same way that God nurtures and takes care of us. But you notice how the plant doesn't want for anything. The plant doesn't move. The plant doesn't complain. The plant doesn't stress. The plant stays in its vibration of love, because a plant, just because we don't see it, a plant is a living, breathing thing. It is alive. It has a life, just like we do. But the difference between us and a plant is because the plant stays in its natural state. The only way that a plant does not stay in its natural state is if it's not loved, if it's not tended to. In order to get love, you have to give love, and that's the best example. And we don't always give that love to ourselves, Gemini. And you need to give it to yourself, and you need to be patient. Archangel Jophiel, which is the Archangel of Beauty, it says, your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realize. Still, they need nurturing and patience. Be patient. But what's so important about this card and how the 4 ties into it is that just lets you know that there's angels working for you in the realm that you can't see. Okay. Now, this dimension, this world that we live in, is not 5 sensory. It is not limited to what we taste, see, hear, feel, and smell. It's not. It goes far beyond that. If it didn't, you would never hear about a sixth sense. A sixth sense is what I use when I feel. You know what I mean? A sixth sense is what someone uses when they're psychic, or that's what a sixth sense is. And so the sixth sense picks up everything in our sensory that we don't see with the normal 5 senses. We are a multi-sensory universe. So these cards tell me that in the realm that you can't see, Gemini, you have angels working, guiding, protecting you, making sure that things are good for you. But you still have to do your work, which is nurturing yourself, nurturing your spirit, and being patient with your process. Sometimes you guys get rushy, Gemini, rush, go, go, go. No, you need to learn how to be still. You need to learn how to chill. You need to learn how to gel out. Humans are not made to go, 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 move, move. That was never it. That was very 3D. That's very man-made, because God, that wasn't what it was about. That wasn't what it was about for God. Okay. He wanted us to come here. I'm moving on to Cancer. He wanted us to come here to create like he creates. Ooh, ooh. That was quick. They just jump out. But I'm not surprised because I'm a Cancer. Yay. Okay. Fellow Cancers, this says awareness. Awareness. Okay. Number 1. 1 is new beginnings. This guy's awareness is starting from his 3rd eye. Okay. He's got a circle. So that's power. Power. So to me, this is power and awareness. You've become aware. You're open. Your 3rd eye, your solar plexus. You are aware that there is a God. You have given that your full awareness. Okay. You are aware that there is something spiritual out there that is bigger than you. Congratulations. That's the first fucking step. Okay. Your 3rd eye. You are stepping into your power as far as, well, I know I can see, so I don't doubt that there's other water signs that can see or other Cancers that can see. You are stepping into your power. Some of you in 2021, because Cancers, we're low-key like fucking scared of everything. Some of you may have been scared of that starting to come up in you in 2021. Okay. Like I've said previously in the reading, 2021 is about letting go, about moving past things that no longer fit you. Those thoughts and ideas of being afraid of God, those thoughts and ideas of being afraid of being able to see or be psychic or hear or feel, that's bullshit. There's nothing to be afraid of. If God created you that way, it is for a purpose. I don't think anybody, especially in the world that we're in, wakes up one day and decides, boom, I want to be psychic. You know what I mean? Because news, media, TV, the Bible, they've always given it so much, you know, you're going to go to hell, in short, that people don't accept them parts of that. They'd rather shun themselves. But when we don't accept ourselves, we don't love ourselves. If we don't love ourselves, how are we supposed to get back into the vibration of love with God? We can't. So if some of you were afraid of this, it's not going to go away because that's who you are. So moving into 2022, get familiar with it, because it's not, like I said, it's not going anywhere. You can either fear it or accept it. When you accept it, shit hits different. When you fear it, you're scared of yourself, and you are made in God's image. You are a mini God. So why fear that? There's nothing to be afraid of. Coming into awareness of this gift could create new beginnings, could create a new reality. And one is just also a reminder that whatever we think, we create. So realize that you are control of your brain. Your brain is the original fucking computer. Before computers, guess what? There was your brain. So you need to get into the understanding that you have a magical, powerful brain. Use it. The mind is a beautiful thing to waste because it is so complex and intricate. Get grounded. All right, Cancer. So it's about, because it's got the number 2. It's about balance. You know, sometimes when you are a spiritual being, or sometimes you get so caught up in the world of spirituality, or the cool things that you learn, or all the information that you take in, and it starts to make you feel crazy. So what you have to do, and I went through this phase like last year, what you have to do is you have to get grounded. Things like working out will keep you grounded. Things like running will keep you grounded. Things like planting your feet in nature, if you are able this time of year, will keep you grounded. What this does is it allows for you to feel very much in this reality, especially with everything that's going on. A lot of people might have felt floaty and distant from this reality. What it does is it allows you to sit in this reality and know that the universe has got you. Know that God has got you. Know that the ground has got you. And it also allows you to recharge. You know, if any of you are readers like myself, or if any of you have any type of a job where there's spiritual exchange, even if you have a job, quiet is kept, even if you have a job where you have, you know, lots of physical interaction with people, you know, getting grounded, you want to get clean too. You don't ever want to take on other people's energies, okay? So that's what that's about. Having balance between here and there, knowing that you live on the Princess playground, but you're really from a divine loving place, okay? All right, Cancer. This says all is well. Archangel Jeremiah, everything is happy. There's so many things that we get insecure about, and we don't realize that we're exactly where we need to be. You know, trust every moment in this life. It's about the highs, it's about the lows, it's about everything in between. It's about, you know, being, it's about being. It's about being love, and it's about just understanding that God wouldn't have you in a place you're not supposed to be. Now, there are stipulations because you have things like free will and God's will, and not everybody understands that. But pretty much it all comes down to choice. It all comes down to the choices that we make. Accept the choices that you make, accept the choices that you don't. At Cancer, in any giving moment is where you're supposed to be. And just know that as long as you do what needs to be done to be in alignment and to come from a place of love, God has always got your back, okay? Leo. Leo. Uh-oh. I'm just kidding. Leo. All right, Leo. Universe. 21. The first vibe that I get is the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster, okay? Leos, you are associated with the planet, which is the sun. So a lot of people will equate you to ego. A lot of people will say you're egotistical, you're big-headed, you want to be the middle of everything, you want to be the center of attention. A lot of it's true, okay? I feel like this past year you have been purging and it has been heavy. I feel like the king or queen of the jungle had some shit that had to go because the jungle was a little messy. The jungle had some branches that needed to be cut. There was some shit that needed to be tended to. And you really pulled your sleeves up and got down in there this year. And you are discovering a side of yourself that you don't know. You're discovering a side of yourself that you haven't seen in a long time, I feel. Something that's fresh and something that's new. And I feel like going into 2022, your heart space is expanding. I feel like you're coming for every fucking thing. You're coming for everything they said you couldn't have. That's the energy that I'm getting. I feel like you have been content for so long, but I feel like you know that you're capable of more and you know that you have not risen to the occasion. And I felt like because this year was a year where you needed to let go of some shit. You had some personal work to do. You had some childhood shit you had to look at. You had some conversations and discussions that needed to be had. You had some toxic people that you needed to let go of, which is not surprising because you are loyal sometimes to a fault. And so I feel like this year was the year of unloading. 2021 was. But I feel like in 2022, you're coming for everybody's motherfucking jugular, as a queen or king should. 21. 2 is all about balance. You are used to feeding the flesh. You're one for a good time. But 2021, you need to be focused on feeding the spirit. You need to be focused on feeling the spirit. That is the only way to balance the scales because you've had such a fun time feeding the flesh. You've got to create that own balance in your energy field. And that is by now taking the time to feed your spirit in 2022. 2 and 1 is 3. 3 is, 1 is we create what we think. So think happy thoughts. Keep that focus up. I'm coming to get every fucking thing that I deserve. 2 and 1 is 3, and 3 is all about action. Don't just talk about it, be about it. If you're thinking something, in order to get it to manifest, you have to speak it into existence and you have to put in the action. It's a divine duet. Do your part so that God can do his part, okay? Message from the higher self, Leo. All right. Message from the higher self, Leo. This one says to meditate. Meditate. Also, meditation is another form of meditation is prayer. So to me, meditate and pray. That is going to help you get into alignment with the universe. That is going to help get you into alignment with God, in alignment with your purpose. When it's quiet, in the stillness of our mind, is when ourselves think. That is when we can hear God talk. That is when, if you're any type of audiences, clairs, any type of clairs, that's when you can feel, hear, see in that peace. Spend time with God. Spend more time with God, Leo. That's what you're being called to do. Spend more time with God next year in prayer. Spend more time quiet. No more moving and grooving. No more hustling and bustling, because you get what you put out. There's a infinity sign in here, and that's nothing but the number 8. You get what you put out. So in those moments, if you're putting out positive things via prayer or letting go of things via meditation, you're putting them out into the universe for the universe to deal with them. And as you work through those things, God and the universe, they meet you back at the point of getting those things healed. And that's what all of this is about, healing, okay? 2022, the two, it's funny because we're going into the year 2022. I really feel like it's going to be your year. If you can quiet the mind and do what needs to be done. 22 is about finding balance in relationships, but also finding balance in the relationship with yourself and the relationship with God. That's what I feel the most. 2 and 2 is 4. If you want to break that down, and 4 is just angel communication, knowing that you are loved, guided, protected, and that they have your back at all times. Okay, Archangel Oracle. That was quick. Well, 3 cards jumped. I just need 1. Oop. Clairaudience. Got some clairaudient Leos out there. Clairaudience. Archangel Zadkiel. Noticing the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. Okay. Like I said, sometimes when God talks, God will send things through us through messages, songs, movies, something we see real quick. He'll send messages through us, clairaudient. That's one where I can kind of, well, it doesn't happen right here, actually. It happens like right here. Like I'll hear something, or like, I like to call it, my dad calls it the whispers, but okay. Pay attention to the advice that people give you. Pay attention to, I feel like you're going to hear things this month, hear little clues that God's like planted, and you'll receive those messages from people you'll receive those messages, excuse me, from songs you hear or movies you watch with advice. Pay close attention to that. And even when you meditate, like I said, mind quiets, you'll be able to hear things. This is the year for you to get closer to God, closer than you've ever been. And I feel like you need to be right up under him because you are in the 8th month of the year. 8 is success, but 8 is also you reap what you sow, as above, so below. 8 this year, August was the year that God started doing some really amazing shit. So 8 is a very important number, not to mention as above, so below. A lot of the things that happen as far as like just the make of this and 8 is a very potent energy. It's that energy that kind of put together the portal between here and there. Okay. Virgo. We got Virgo, right? Yep, Virgo. All right, Virgo. How am I mixing the cards like that? Backwards. All right, Virgo. All right, Virgo. So 2021, stagnants. You have been stagnant. Here's the disruption card. Okay. Disruption. You see this guy? He has got so much shit going on and things are so dark around him that he has been stagnant. He hasn't been able to move or flow through things, assignments, anything really, because he's been so stuck and stagnant. I feel like, and I'm just looking at these 2 colors on the bottom here, the blue and the green. Heart stuff. There's been some heartbreak that is, working through heartbreak, working through, and not even necessarily a heartbreak like a love relationship, just heartbreaking things, like just things that have broken the heart down. I mean, we're with the heart space is opening up, so it's a lots of heart work for everybody. But I feel like, you've had some broken hearts, and you've been trying to work through that this past year. You've been trying to let go of all that stuff, and it's damn near took the whole year for you to get through it. This light blue is the throat chakra. I feel like there were things that you still needed to say that were never said. I feel like you were kind of quiet this year. I feel like last year, 2021, I feel like you may have lost your voice or been searching for your voice in 2021. And in 2022, that is what it's going to be for you. You are going to, I feel like personally, because everybody's heart space is open, and I feel like you're going to be coming out of that space of disruption more focused. I feel like you're going to be focusing on working on your heart and healing your heart more. And I feel like you're going to be using the voice that God gave you. Using the voice that God gave you to speak your truth, to be vocal, to help heal, to help shift, to help manipulate the very cold and evil energy that's on this planet. I feel like that is what you're going to be doing. Okay. The one energy means on here that we think, what we think we create. So to me, this is just a reminder to keep happy thoughts. Whatever, Virgo, you give your attention to, that is where energy flows. Wherever energy flows, that is where, wherever your attention goes, that is where energy flows. And so this year, you need to stay focused. I feel like you let a lot of non-factor ass shit take the seat in your head. I feel like we all have feelings, Virgo. And even though Virgo, see, the thing about a Virgo is you're not a water sign, but you're really sensitive also. You're one of the more sensitive signs outside of being a water sign. We know water signs are sensitive, but Virgo, you're a really sensitive soul. Kind of like Michael Jackson, sensitive soul. The perfectionist of the earth. Everything can't be perfect. Okay. And just because something's not perfect doesn't mean that you can't keep going. Doesn't mean that you can't keep moving forward. Doesn't mean that you can't keep succeeding. But you have to find the space to do it. Okay. Make sure that you are really feeling people's energy out. And I want you to stay away from people with dark vibrations, dark energy. Okay. Because the devil is busy. And a person that has so much to give, Virgo, you have a lot to give, but I feel like for you, the disruption maybe comes in lovers. It may come in lovers. And I feel like, Virgo, that's just something that you have to watch out for. Okay. You don't have time to be manipulated. You don't have time to really focus on anything but yourself. And that's okay. That is why I love the energy, the 2022 energy that we're moving into so much, because when we step into that energy, we step out of validation. We step out of needing validation from other people or needing validation for someone else. We step into falling in love with ourselves. And so, Virgo, I feel like that's so for you because there's a 6 on this card. So I want you to take that time, and I to be taking that time to build up a stronger relationship with yourself, to fall in love with yourself. And actually what this card says is 1 and 6 is 7. 7 is a reward. So this card says, continue to think happy thoughts, take control over your thought processes. And then when we take control over our thought processes, continue to build that relationship with the higher self, continue to fall in love with yourself, continue to build up that relationship with the 3-year-old part of you, and you'll be rewarded. It's without a shadow of a doubt, because when we do the work, when we let go of the chains that bind us, Virgo, then we're really doing something. God can move in our life, but if we're stuck and stagnant with no energy flow, what is he to do? Okay. Higher self. Higher self. Okay. Get a new story. All right, Virgo. It's time for you to recreate yourself. You're going to be recreating yourself. I feel like you've had a sad past. We all have. But again, you are one of the more sensitive signs, unlike the water. I mean, the water signs are sensitive, but you're not a water sign, and you're still, one of the more sensitive signs. Virgo, I feel like sometimes you fall into a mode of like feeling like a victim. And I feel like you're just so sensitive. Sometimes you don't know how to get out of that victim space. And I feel like the mind chatter that you have had of yourself this past year, as we continue, as we've let things go in 2021, I feel like the mind chatter, honey, that you have for yourself about yourself has not been too nice. I feel like you have not been as kind to yourself as you may have needed to be. It's time for you to let all that go, and it's time for you to get a new story. When we're a child, shit happens. You know, nobody's childhood is perfect. Some is more horrible than others, but really sad fucking things happen. And like I said, society teaches us to celebrate our toxicities, to celebrate our, you know, you can admit we can admit we have issues, you know what I'm saying? But instead of admitting and healing and dealing, I mean, really, before this year, a lot of people let a lot of all that shit go. But what we were really taught to do outside of this year is, as you know, we go through these tough things, to talk about them, but joke about them. So it's like we're joking on the same hurt and the same pain over and over and over and over again. Or life was just so fucked up. All we can play in our minds is that same victim loop of all the fucked up shit we've been through. If someone says, "Who are you?" You know, you got that victim story ready to tell, and it's like, I understand that, but you can't keep telling that story, because what you're doing is, if one means that we create what we speak, then that means that every time you speak that narrative of yourself, you're just continuing to create. Is speaking up the person you want, okay? Speaking up big things, okay? Say you were, you know, some type of a victim. I won't even go into details because I don't want to trigger anybody, but say you were some type of a victim when you were younger. You know, you might harbor on that victim mentality, okay? But when we get 18, we are all responsible. 1 and 8 is 9. 9 is completion, as well as how can I be of service, but 9 is completion. God knows at that time, it's time for you to decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep telling that sad fucking story? Or are you going to get out here and try to change the narrative? Okay. If you have big dreams, speak big shit. Say big shit. Get a new story. Tell us of your successes. If you haven't had any, speak them up. You know what I'm saying? We've all got to start somewhere. The only one that's going to complain about your story, the only person that's going to have a problem with your story, is somebody who doesn't fucking like their story, or someone who hasn't healed their story, which, by the way, is none of your fucking business, Virgo. The only thing that you can do is just make a decision, boo. Are you going to stay a victim, or are you going to tell a story of a victory? That's up for you to decide, because what you decide to say about yourself in 2022 is going to manifest as who you are come 2023, because it takes sometimes, depending on where you are with manifestation, anywhere from 3 to 6, 9, a year, 9 months, a year, to see all these things that you've talked up. So be intentional with your words, Virgo. You need to watch what you say this year, okay? Because you've got to create a new story for yourself. 4, angel protection. You are loved, you are guided, you are protected. The 1 is a reminder that whatever we think, we create. Think happy thoughts. Think successful things about yourself. Whatever you want to see, whoever you want to be, speak it up. Use your words. The power is in your words. Okay. 4 and 1 is 5. 5 is all about letting go. 5 is about letting go of the things no longer fit you, people, places, and things. But in your case, I feel like it's your old behaviors and the old stories you tell about yourself. Okay. I feel like there's so much more to you that you haven't tapped into, and it's almost like you're afraid to say it, because if you say it, what if it doesn't happen? It's kind of one of those things, because you're such a perfectionist, Virgo, that what if I speak all this shit up? What if I say all this stuff and none of it's true? Or what if I say all these things and I can't meet the expectancy of all the things that I'm saying? You know, I just feel like it's a bunch of self-doubt that you need to work through, boo. Much more than that. You're so much more than the old narrative, okay? You are a loving, beautiful, divine being made from a place of love, and you are a warrior, and you're going to slay this shit, okay? Angels. Gotta love a good angel. Okay. Clairaudient. All right. So like I was saying before, God talks in all types of ways. God is talking to anyone listening, anyone who believes in him, anyone who knows that, he's there to talk to, he's there to speak to, he's there to give it to. He is going to start communicating with you as we move into 2022. Heart spaces are opening up. How do we connect to God? Through the heart. Why? Because this is the child. The greatest in the kingdom of heaven are the children, okay? This says, clairaudience, Archangel Zadkiel. Notice the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. So when God talks, it may be through a song. He does that to me a lot. I get a lot of communications when I'm in the shower, actually. I think it has to do with the water. But he talks through music. He sends messages through other people. Like someone might come tell you something, and it might be in relation to something you were thinking about or something that you were wondering about, or it might just be an answer to a prayer through somebody else's mouth. I mean, God, he can talk so many different ways. He can talk like through the radio, or he'll talk through, not just the radio, he'll talk through movies, TV shows, any way that he can communicate with you. I mean, any way, if you think about it, he can communicate with you. But because this says clairaudience, and like I said, we're going to be more in that heart space, we're going to be able to connect to our Father more authentically as the heart space opens up in the 6, because that's about connection with the higher child, aka the 3-year-old that is connected to God. So pay attention to the things that you hear next year. Some of you might start to develop a clairaudient. Do not be afraid. It's an upgrade. If you look at the chart, the study of evolution, they always come from the caveman. We weren't all cavemen, but that's another story. They always come from the cavemen up until the basic ass human. And I've got a chart that shows the caveman all the way up to the human. And then right after the human, you see all the chakras light and bright, because that is us in our God bodies. We are capable of so much shit that we wouldn't even be able to conceive. So many secrets about who we are. But next year, boo, you're going to know who you are. God is going to be talking to you. And how are you in the state of mind to listen? Be clear. Move. Stay in movement. As long as you're in movement, you're connecting. When you're stuck and you're still and you're stagnant, you can't move. And God really can't move through you either. Okay? Libra. Libra. All right, Libra. You are associated with the planet Venus, the planet of love. Pow. Love begins, okay? Now, Libra, you are a lover. I know that you love a good romance. I know that you are all about the Disney prince or princess, like the wedding, the love, the lovingness. I know that you'd like to take things that are simple and you can make them 10 times more beautiful. That's the special gift that you have. But Libra, I don't think that you've had that love, and I don't think you've carried that love for yourself. Now, I'm not surprised, because humans are obsessed with love, but they're not obsessed with self-love. They're obsessed with love in relationships. Like if this was a love reading, things would be so different, because people just want to hear about love, 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 love. And it's not funny, but one thing that I, a reader, realize when I do love readings and stuff is the basic problem with a lot of love readings is that the people just don't have love for themselves. They want to wonder why they're not in this great romantic loving relationship. It's because you don't even love yourself. And it's really true. If you can't love you, why would, if you don't love you enough to be your authentic self, why would you attract someone attracted to your authentic self if you're not even authentic? That's what that is. So this is new beginnings. You may have been having some self-worth issues this past year, Libra, with yourself, having some back and forth with the relationship with yourself. This year, you are going to be loving on yourself extra fucking hard, and you deserve it. I feel like you have given out so much love in the pursuit of that perfect romance, that perfect love, Libra, when you haven't gotten it. And the thing about it is, you focus on love more than any sign. Like love, okay, I think Cancer is probably in there. I mean, there's a few others, but Libra, because your planet is Venus, you just focus on love and love relationships so much. And I mean, you may have been someone who ever since you were a kid, you thought about getting married, or you may be someone who's always been in like a long relationship or had relationships or something of the sort. You love love. You love love relationships. I feel like you are always pouring into someone else, but you never really have people that pour into you. And this year, you're pouring into yourself. I feel like your relationship with God is going to get stronger because you're pouring into yourself. And in pouring to yourself, there's going to be, like I said, new beginnings. There's going to be rewards. A whole different life is kind of going to unlock because we go through so much trying to find the perfect life with our ego. And our ego is not aligned with who God made us to be. I'm sorry, it's not. So I feel like Libra, where you might have been looking in the wrong places all these years before for love and validation, I feel like you are finally tuning inward and realizing that the love and validation can really only be found within. So congratulations on that. I see lots of success for you because when you are rooted in love, you are in alignment. A lot of people wonder why God can't come through and help them out because you're not in alignment with him. He is at the energy of love. Okay. I explain this to people all the time. Let's think about a radio. If I want to hear 98.3, okay, and I turn on the radio to 104.3, I'm not going to hear 98.3 because my frequencies don't match. I'm 98.3. I got 104.3 on the radio. How am I going to get to or no, let me switch it. The radio was at 98.3. I'm at 104.3. I'm 104.3. I want to be at 98.3, but I'm at 104.3. So how do I come in alignment with 98.3? I have to tune in my energetic frequency. I have to tune in my energetic vibration to 104.3 or 198.3 to get to 98.3. There has to be energetic. Whatever we want, everything is energy. Everything holds frequency. So when we want to get someplace, we need to think, what is the frequency? What is the vibration of this thing that I'm trying to obtain? Okay. If you're wanting to obtain your successes, if you're wanting to manifest your dreams, first, you have to get into the vibration of love. Okay. Flip that back over because, all right, higher self. This card just sliding around like butter. Oh, okay. Remember to breathe. All right, Libra. When most people breathe, they breathe incorrectly, okay? When a lot of people inhale, for some reason, their stomach will go in, and then when they expand, is when we breathe, we are breathing out negative energy, stuck, stagnant energy that does not belong in us. So this year, Libra, when shit comes up that pisses you off, when things come up that irritates you, now y'all got a little temper on you, and y'all got to learn to pull that shit back in 2022 because it's about self-love. It's about respect. It's about so many things. Remember to breathe, okay? When you feel like there's a problem and how am I going to get through it or whatever the case is, please remember to sit back, take a second, and breathe, okay? When we breathe, we are breathing in fresh ideas, fresh perspective, fresh air. And when we breathe out, we are releasing all of that stagnant, stuck energy, okay? So you've got to think, if we take in oxygen and our oxygen goes to our brain and all this, we are taking in freshness and letting go. You were lucky enough to go out and get fresh air. Try to get fresh air. If you're needing to circulate air and are not able to get fresh air, take a step outside and go outside and see if you can't, You know, breathe in some fresh air out there, okay? Just remember to breathe. And then 10, new beginnings, okay? New beginnings, which I already said it's new beginnings. This year is going to be a different type of year because you are no longer operating from an egotistical place. You are operating from a place of love, really. And that's really all, you know, that's the whole point of all this shit. Getting to a place of love, self-acceptance. Because when we love ourselves and when we accept ourselves, we love others, we accept others. All right. Indigo and crystal children. You have a bond with the children, Libra. In particular, you can help children who are sensitive. So my name's AshleyIndigo. That's what I go by. And indigo is, I don't know if you heard of indigo and crystal children. They are super sensitive children. If you ever heard anything about rainbow babies, it's all the different babies that have come in all the different times. And it's the idea that these specific babies, depending on where they've come from, they've come to assist, you know, adults in remembering. Okay. Now, people don't really think about it, but the reason that children are gifts, Libra, the reason that children are gifts is because children are sent here to remind us what it's like to be children. But because a lot of us have fucked up childhoods, we don't care what it was like to be a child. A lot of us don't even want to remember what it was like to be a child. So when those children come here to help us figure out, you know, and remember what childhood is like, what it's like, and the beauty and the essence of being a child, some of us are so fucked up. I'm online. Some of us are so fucked up that we are desensitized. We're completely desensitized to the stuff that we have going on. So this is a message to you. Spend time with children this year. Surround yourself with children this year. Children have a very beautiful way of looking at things. Children have a they're the way they see shit through their eyes is completely different. Now, you know, it's such a long thing, and I really kind of can't even get into it because I just think so much about the idea, but people from the 90s and 80s are fucked up. And we are parents of the children from this generation. And one thing that we love to do is blame the children of this generation. Oh, these kids these days and age, blah, blah, blah. But how are we blaming them when we are the ones that taught them? And that's what I'm saying. If we're in a too prideful of a place, we won't realize that. Well, Libra, because you have a special relationship with children also, very similar to the Gemini. We need your help. God is really tired of the things that have happened to children, especially in his fucking name. And him and Yeshua, they're coming here to shake some shit up. But these children, they are our future. And so some of you may be called to work with children this year. I feel like some may become nannies. Some might have children. If you don't have children, some may be spending more time with children, a niece, a nephew. You can always tell when a child is particularly sensitive because they'll have big eyes. That's just a clue when you look at people's physical characteristics. Your ability and need to love is so special and so magical. And I feel like you're working on your inner child, but I feel like for you, the action of being around children and playing with children will get you more into that vibration also. Okay. I feel like it's going to be a very special year for you, Libra. Very special year filled with laughter and children. And I love to see that. Okay. Scorpio. Scorpio is actually one of my favorite signs. Scorpio is my favorite sign. I won't even hold you. I don't know. I like Scorpios. I could be partial because Scorpio is my moon sign, but I've always got along with Scorpios. A lot of people don't care for them, but they're just misunderstood. All right, Scorpio. Fulfillment of wishes. Did you see it? Okay. Fulfillment of wishes. The card on this number is 9, fulfillment of wishes. Okay, this is pretty much it, Scorpio. Again, you are a water sign. Scorpios, they're not the most religious because we question everything. And I say we because I'm a Scorpio moon, so I understand when it comes to like the feel part of it. The moon represents emotions. Anytime you have a sign in a moon, You are 10 times more that sign than a person in that sun sign, because you understand that sign on an emotional, a deep emotional level, because that's your moon sign. So yes, I am a Cancer, personality wise. You know, people see me as a Cancer rising sign, but I'm a Scorpio in the sense of that is how my emotions operate. Okay. So anyways, Scorpios might not be the most religious people, but you're definitely a spiritual people. You definitely have always kind of been the one to have a relationship with God, but like all on your own. You've never been one to follow the crowd. So you may not be religious. You may not be anyone who deals with organized religion, but you may still have a very special relationship with God, have prayed to God, talked to God, and you know, you've just been really independent in that. This I see as a fulfillment of wishes. Okay. You've been praying. You've been talking to your father. You've been giving it to him. You've been doing your inner emotional shadow work. And the thing that's so special about a Scorpio is where other people are uncomfortable talking about their childhood and their past and all the dark, scary shit from way back before, you are comfortable, Scorpio. So when it comes to something like healing, deep healing, inner child healing, shadow work, stuff like that, you may be able to assist somebody in that stuff because you're not afraid. You're not afraid to look at that. You know, you're the person that people probably will tell you so much about them, but you won't divulge anything about you. Not because you don't want to go into it, but because you don't need help with you're like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You don't need help with your shit. You just kind of do your shit, you know what I mean, and work it out the way that you work it out. But what's so great about that is because you've taught yourself this, you have skill. So you can teach other people how to heal themselves. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But this says fulfillment of wishes. You've been living from the heart space. And going into this year, all your dreams are going to come true, honey. I feel like there's things that you've been praying for. There's things that you've been waiting for, but it was, you needed to work through your shit. You needed to get your heart space clean. You needed to show vulnerability. You were afraid to be vulnerable in 2020. You know, you became aware of that in 2020. 2021, shit hit the fan and you had to get it together. And now going in 2022, because you did the work, boo, you're getting rewarded. Now, the number on this card is 9. 9 is how can I be of service, but also, like I said, completion. You're at an end of, well, as far as you know it, because healing, there's layers, you know what I mean? Things have kind of gotten to speed up a little bit because there's a whole spiritual war going on. You know, you're finally able to stop and smell the roses and reap the benefits of what has been a long, grueling year, a long, grueling process as far as letting go. But you've done the work, and fearlessly and beautifully, Scorpio. Okay. Woo. I like this card. Woo woo is wonderful. Okay. What is woo woo, Scorpio? Woo woo is this. It's what I'm doing right now. Cards. Reiki, energy healing, sound bowl healing, anything that is spiritual and any type of spiritual tool, really, anything that, you know, someone would say maybe is like non-traditional in the spiritual sense. Pretty much everything that I just mentioned. Woo-woo is wonderful. What that means is, Scorpio, you are the reason that you've had such a good relationship spiritually and spirituality is because, well, Scorpio used to be associated with the planet of psychology, which I believe was Saturn. But because you understand psychology, you understand the human brain. So you may be one of those people that notices body language, tone of voice, the way a person looks, actions. You notice every fucking thing, okay? And that's a gift. People may try to make you seem like a freak of nature. People may try to make you seem weird, crazy, but that's a gift. A gift that if a lot of people tapped into, they wouldn't be looking to pay other people for. They would just do it. So, that in you is a beautiful thing. And I feel like that also may be one of your gifts too, moving into 2022. It's like I said before, when we trust God, when we trust what he shows us, he knows that we can handle it and he starts showing us more of this stuff. Scorpio, you are one of God's people in an evolved state. Once you've gotten all the junk taken care of. There's a one on here that has to do with one new beginnings, but you see how this person's living from the heart? Continue to live from the heart space, living from the heart space, doing mystical things, manifestation, lining up with God. All of that is wonderful. Some people may think that's cheesy. Some people may think that's possible, but that's your strength. That's a fucking superpower, Scorpio. Okay. Ooh, peace. All right. This year says Archangel Chamuel, peace comes from remembering that only love is real. Peace comes from remembering that only love is real. And this angel has a dove, and he's releasing a dove. He's got a yellow into the 2022. All right. And Sagittarius, last but definitely not least, Sagittarius. I have a little special announcement that I'm going to be making after this. I'll probably end up going and doing some lives later to kind of like go into detail about my special announcement. But it's something that I'm excited about. Oop. All right. Sagittarius, emotional loss. First word that comes to mind is numb. Emotional loss. 5. There have been some things, like I said, everyone, that you had to let go of. That's what the 5 stands for, 2021. 2 + 0 + 2 + 1 = 5. Letting go. You've done a lot of letting go this year. I feel like there are still some feelings around an issue, an incident, a person, some feelings around some things that you are starting to lose interest in. It's a little bit different with feelings because feelings are something that we invest them, and we invest them so hard, especially when it comes in a love relationship where it may not be a person, it may be a situation that you're wrapped up so tight in, and it's caused you to lose some emotion. I want to tell you to whatever it is, you need to deal with it, because losing your emotion, and you see this person right here. Let's see if I can get it clear. This guy has some heart pain going on right here. Something's hurting his heart. And if you could see him up close, he just looks heartbroken, dude. And, but you see this energy, it is flowing behind him into the light. Now, when we see sunlight, we know that that's God's grace. So God has got you, but you've got to let go of it so you can heal it. You've let go of a lot of things, but there's some shit you're still holding on to at the heart. You don't have to lie to me, but there is still some shit that you're holding on to. And you think that it's okay, and it's not okay, because it's affecting the heart space. And you're not going to be able to deny it because your heart space is growing energetically, which means that shit hits different to the heart space this time around. You got to free yourself. And I feel like something has the heart so wound up, Sagittarius, that, it's almost like it's holding you back. That makes any sense? Okay. You got to let that go. This 5 on this green card, not heart space, moving into 2022. This thing is something that you have to let go of because it could become a problem. You might start to notice heart problems. Anytime we have something that happens to us emotionally, what happens is it causes emotional dis-ease. If you put dis-ease together, you're going to see it's the word disease. It causes emotional dis-ease. So now you have an emotional disease. Well, what happens next? That emotional disease now is a physical disease, because this emotional disease, emotions are power. This emotion, this strong emotion, has now manifested physically. Okay, that's what happens. We're manifestors. We just got to know it. So because this has manifested, now you've got, your body is at dis-ease. It's not in alignment. It's dis-eased. So now you've got shit fucking with your heart space. Heart might be hurting, heart attack, different things. And you got to learn to take care of that shit. You know, you got to learn to let it go. Sagittarius, I know you're bold. I know you're blunt, but you're one of those who likes to call other people out, not quite looking at your own shit. There's nothing, you know, wrong with that if you want to continue to live that way, but that's not authenticity. Being real with other people, but not being real with yourself, there's nothing authentic about that, okay? At the end of the day, we've all got to look at the mirror and handle our shit like bosses. And God, see, what people don't understand about God is not, his love is an accountable love. And I feel like I never understood that until 2021, till August, when God started telling me all types of shit. I realized that, wait a minute, this is an accountable God we're dealing with here. That's what's wrong, because he's trying to hold us accountable and we don't want to be accountable. We don't even hold ourselves accountable. So, you know, it's time to get into that alignment, and it's time to get grounded. Spend some time with nature, recharge your batteries, balance your relationships. You may have some relationships, like I said, it may be a love relationship, it may be a friendship. You may have some relationships that maybe need work, okay? And I feel like, too, just like everybody else, you need to feed your spirit more. 2 is also about the balance between here and there. It's about the balance of knowing we live here, but we are not from here. We are from a divine, loving, beautiful, white light of a place. And we were dropped down here to this space to go through this little bullshit to come out warriors. That's all this is about, you know? And getting grounded, I feel like, in the sense, Sagittarius, for you is getting real with your situation and being real and being honest and finding balance. You know, every situation there has to be balance. I feel like you're still finding out balance, but feed your spirit more. Quit feeding the flesh so much. Feed the spirit. The spirit, this is a loner. This ain't yours. When you go, this is going wherever you decide for this to go, if you even get to make the decision. That's what I'm saying. This is so temporary. All of this body is so temporary. You need to step into and accept the fact that you have a light inside, and you are the light inside. You are the soul inside. You are the being inside. You are the child inside. And so you need to get into alignment with that, Sag. Pulling an angel card. Ooh. Ooh. We'll go with this one. Gifts from God. All right. Archangel Sandalphon. We angels bring you gifts from your creator. Open your arms to receive. Okay. See this? This is holding you back right here. Let me tell you something. Let me just put this out there for you real quick, Sagittarius. Sometimes we stand in the way of our own blessings. Okay. The relationship that we have with God is like a father-child dynamic, okay? And we understand that if we have children, because there is a parent-child dynamic with us and our children. So everything above is an example of everything below. So the childhood dynamic from above is an example of the childhood dynamic below. God has a plan for us right here, okay? And then here's us. God gave us a superpower. It's called free will, aka choices. So we have the choice to do this or to that. Now, as parents, we always want the very best for our children. Say this is the very best for our children, okay? We want this for them. But depending on what our child decides to do with their free will depends on how they end up. God wants to bless us. But if you have 2 choices and you know one choice is prosperous and the other choice is maybe a little bit more fun, and you decide to go with the non-prosperous fun choice, don't be surprised if God can't do shit for you because you chose. He's never going to get in the way of our choosing. He has a plan for us, but depending on what we choose with our free will, our choices, we get there or we don't get there. But our parent always wants the best for us. He always has a plan for us. And what I'm seeing here is you need to get this shit right, and you need to get it tight, because if you don't, God can't gift you. You're literally standing in the way of your own blessings because you have heart chakra shit, things left unsaid, things left unfelt that you need to work on, and you're blocking your own blessings. And you might notice that once you clear this shit up this year, 2022, because our heart's opening, we can't help but do the work. Blessings gonna start flying left and fucking right, left and right, okay? Because that's how God works. We have to be obedient. And people think being obedient is just listening to some father, some genie in the sky. And no, it's not. Because if you actually think about it, being obedient just means respecting yourself, standing up for yourself, speaking when it's your time to speak, standing in your power, knowing how beautiful you are, knowing how loved you are. Being obedient just means respecting yourself. And respecting yourself just means not poisoning yourself every fucking weekend with drugs or alcohol. And we think that that's so unbearable and so harsh because everybody drinks, but it's a lie. We are poisoned. We are, so much shit is done to us on a daily basis to keep us stuck. And in 2022, we're coming out of all of that. Everybody who's trying, everybody who's working, everybody who's doing is coming out of that. Okay. So I am done with my readings for the Zodiac. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I hope that everyone takes something away. I'm going to go ahead and make this a public post. So if anyone wants to rewatch and take notes or come back, they can do that. Okay, so this is the announcement that I wanted to make, okay? So I have been reading since 2015. And for a while back in the day, I would just do like donation readings or whatever. And then as my experience and as I could see accuracy and as I got better, even though I stepped back and even though I stepped away, I came back and I set my prices and everything's fine with that. Now, there was a conversation that I had with a friend, and my friend told me, I'd love to support you, blah, 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 and I can't afford the readings. When my friend told me that she could not afford my readings, it did something to me, because I do this shit for God. This ain't to bring fame. This is not for none of that shit. I do this shit for God. And I always have since the beginning of time. And the way that we're moving and where we're going, money is not going to matter. And I feel like God has done and is doing so much to get me prepped for that by helping me increase and build up my karma bank. So this is what I would like to do. This entire world is about money. The place that the Prince of Darkness, the Prince's Playground, is about money. God is not a money God. God is a God of love. God is a God of acceptance. God is a God of peace. And I sat and I thought and I meditated and I prayed for 3 days. And this is what God told me. He does not want me to make my readings inaccessible for everyone. That's not what this is about. I feel like if you are not able to pay for a reading, if you are not able to buy a reading, you should still be able to experience it, because that one reading could be the reading that sets you off on a huge path. I don't do this for me. I don't do this shit for money. I don't do this shit for likes. I don't do this shit for follows. I do this shit because it is time to relay the messages. It is time to get people back to their inner children. It is time to get people back to where they belong. It's time to get us back home. So my mini readings that were $33 for the 30-minute reading, I have now put that as a free service. Okay. So what that means is I have my LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and put that information. Anyone who is wanting to get a free 30-minute reading with me will have to go through the process of scheduling. But when you go through, you'll see that it is $0 readings. Now, a free reading does not mean that someone is going to keep hitting me up every fucking week for a reading. That is not what that means. But if you would like to get a reading and you care and you want to take that step and you want to see the experience with me, then you can do that. Now, I offer different readings. I have different spreads. So if you want something longer, the 60-minute, or if you want any of my other spreads, then, we can just negotiate pay. But my the reading for the 30 minutes is a free reading. It is a donation only, which means if you are able to give, that's fine. There's no set price. You can donate. That's fine. It's a clean energy exchange, okay? But if you are not able to give, that is fine also, because money is going to be a scarce situation. Money is not going to exist at one point in time. And so it is very important to me that I am doing God proud by making sure that I'm giving the messages to the right people. I definitely believe in connection. I definitely believe in union. I feel like everybody that comes to me is for me and vice versa. And I'm just so excited about doing the work. I'm so excited about 2022. And so that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be offering a free reading service for the 30 minutes. There may have to be like a 6 month delay between, the readings when people are doing like the 30-minute readings, or depending on the area, just so that, I'm not getting used and abused, because there are people who have done me like that, will use me to read them every fucking week. And you know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you can buy a $15 bag of weed and can't trust yourself or invest in you know what I'm saying? Then why even get involved? You know what I mean? But I don't want other people to ruin it for the people who really need it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the free readings that I gave back in the day, those were some of the best readings. And those were from people that, like, there was just certain people that I remember that just appreciated that the most. So I want to be able to do that. Okay. Anyways, I am so grateful and so glad that we were able to do this. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope everyone enjoyed. And you guys have a happy new year. Bye.